Good evening. If you've reached this point in the evening, you're probably tired of seeing my face. But don't worry, that's a normal reaction. My name is Thor, Assistant Director of Athletics for Strategic Communications and Marketing. This is my 20th year at NJCU in 2020, and I'm honored tonight to have the opportunity to introduce for induction into the NJCU Athletics Hall of Fame, my friend, Christopher Feliciano. I worked with Chris in two different capacities. First, when Chris was a student athlete as a junior and senior, and I was just a young 24-year-old sports information director in the business myself. Then for 5 years as a colleague, when Chris was a trailblazing coach of the men's and women's volleyball programs here at NJCU. Chris is being inducted tonight for both. Tonight, Chris becomes only the second men's volleyball player ever inducted, the other being Satsay Thongvahik. As a player, Chris was intense, and the teams he played for were successful. A 2-year team captain, Chris finished his career producing 1,268 points, 1,082 kills, 636 digs, and 212 blocks, finishing his career second all-time when he graduated. He's now fourth in the all-time list because he was passed by two guys he recruited, Kevin Rogers and Robert Griffiths. Kevin went on to have a very successful career of his own on the coaching sidelines, most recently guiding East Stroudsburg to the NCAA Division II tournament while being named the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference Coach of the Year, and this month was named the new head coach at Division I Fairleigh Dickinson. And this seems like the perfect time to transition from Chris as a player to Chris as a coach, because as good of an athlete as Chris was on the court, it's the work he has done on the sidelines which will make him a Hall of Famer at every stop he makes. Our athletic director at the time, Larry Shiner, named Chris men's volleyball coach in November 2003, 6 months after he graduated, and in July 2004, Chris was elevated from women's volleyball recruiting coordinator to head women's volleyball coach. Here's what Larry Shiner said about Chris. Quote, "He was a very enthusiastic young man who was already part of the NJCU community. He was an intense competitor, which I felt would carry over to coaching and recruiting. I never had any doubt that he would be successful and eventually move up in the coaching ranks." Unquote. Larry, I think you nailed that hiring decision. Christopher Feliciano built a volleyball legacy at NJCU in a very brief period of time, accomplishments which led to unprecedented history for conference-affiliated women's sports at the university. The year before Chris was named head women's volleyball coach, NJCU was 14-16. In his first season as head coach in 2004, the Gothic Knights finished 30-6 and qualified for the first postseason tournament in the first 22 years of the program's existence, when NJCU was selected to the ECAC Division III South Tournament for the first time and won the Association of Division III Independents Championship. The season was also highlighted by a 20-match winning streak and 29 consecutive set victories. But NJCU competed as an independent in 2004, and when it rejoined the conference in 2005, the Gothic Knights still had a lot to prove. In that year's preseason coaches poll, NJCU was picked 5th out of 9 teams. Think about that for a second. A team that won 30 matches the previous year was picked 5th. If you're a young team with a young coach and you want instant motivation, well, that'll do it right there. Needless to say, NJCU did not finish 5th in 2005. They finished 1st, and NJCU went undefeated in the NJAC en route to being the first women's athletic team in school history to capture a New Jersey Athletic Conference championship, knocking off nemesis Richard Stockton in the finals. They also became the first women's team to qualify for an NCAA Division III tournament. 15 years since that banner you see hanging above Coach Charlie Brown Court was won, the 2005 women's volleyball team is still the only women's team to ever win an NJAC championship or qualify for an NCAA Division III tournament. NJCU finished the 2005 season with a 26-8 record. In 2006, NJCU broke the single-season wins record again, finishing 33-8 overall. NJCU went 7-1 in the NJAC that season and fell in the NJAC championship match to Stockton. Chris's team deserved to be in the NCAA tournament that year, but in our opinion, got snubbed. NJCU was instead selected to the ECAC Division III South Tournament again. They were the number 1 overall seed, and on this very court went 3-0 to capture the 2006 ECAC Division III Championship. In 2007, NJCU, with its hardest schedule yet, went 28-6 overall, 8-0 in the NJAC to capture its second NJAC regular season championship in 3 years. Unfortunately, the season did not end on a high note, as the Gothic Knights were upset in the championship match by Montclair State and then fell in the ECAC tournament. Even with the loss, Chris's teams did something that has never happened before, reaching 3 consecutive NJAC championship matches. No other program in NJCU history has ever reached 3 consecutive conference finals, not even the men's basketball program, which has won 12 conference titles in their history. How do you achieve this level of success? Yes, you have to be a great coach, but you also have to be a great recruiter, and Chris was a great recruiter. Undoubtedly, his best recruit ever was Lizelle Cintron, who went on to be a 3-time NJAC Player of the Year and a 3-time All-American, and is without a question the best player in the history of the NJAC with 2,894 career kills. But Lizelle wasn't the only all-time great. Jackie LeBlanc joined the program in 2005 and went on to be a 3-time first-team All-NJAC performer. He added such great players as Sarah Torres and Gloria Perez, Nadia Da Silva and Alex Johannesson, Jennifer Carvalero, and the late great Lolly Negron. In 2007, Chris was finally named the New Jersey Athletic Conference Coach of the Year, an honor he deserved to win in 2005 and 2006. He coached one more season with the women in 2008 in the final season on the sidelines, taking that team back to the NJAC tournament one more time. NJCU has not appeared in the conference tournament since. Here are the 2 stats which I think punctuate Chris's coaching career with the NJCU women. In 5 seasons as head women's volleyball coach, he had a jaw-dropping record, 131 wins and 39 losses. That's a .771 winning percentage in 170 matches, 64 more wins than his mentor Frank Sella. And during his tenure, NJCU posted a 43-match home court winning streak. NJCU almost never lost at home when Chris was coaching. In fact, in 5 years on the sideline, NJCU won 13 tournament titles, including 4 in 2007. Because of the success Chris had with the women, it sometimes gets forgotten all the success he had with the men. Chris served as head men's volleyball coach for 4 years from 2004 to 2007, finishing with a mark of 72-54. He was named the 2005 Northeast Collegiate Volleyball Association Metro Division Coach of the Year. He is the second winningest men's coach in the program's annals, only behind his mentor Frank Sella's total of 108. If you want to see the legacy that Chris Feliciano left in this program, look no further than our current coaching staff. Head women's volleyball coach Justin Beaumont and head men's volleyball coach Carlo Edra. Both were recruited by Chris and both played for Chris on the men's team. Carlo Edra said, and I quote, "I would not be where I am today without Chris. He recruited me to play for NJCU back in 2003. I didn't believe I was good enough to play college, but apparently he saw something in me that I couldn't see in myself. Recruiting me was the first gift Chris gave me, but it wasn't the biggest. In 2007, he took me under his wing and made me his assistant coach after my playing career was over. I'm literally living a dream life right now, and none of this is possible without Chris. I am eternally grateful for him opening the door towards NJCU that I would have never gone through had our paths never crossed. Thank you, Chris Feliciano." Unquote. I knew pretty early on that Chris had ambitions to coach at the Division I level. He left NJCU after the 2008 women's season for an assistant position at Fordham, then became head coach at Division I Rider, a program that mired in mediocrity prior to his arrival. In 8 seasons, Chris took Rider to unimaginable heights. Sound familiar? He is that school's all-time winningest coach with 117 victories in 8 seasons. The Bronx won 10-plus conference matches in each of his final 5 years and tallied at least 15 wins 6 consecutive seasons. Chris left Rider last year to move to a higher Division I conference, the America East Conference, as the new head coach of the University of New Hampshire Wildcats. In his first season this fall, he led New Hampshire to 17 victories. Rumor is he is now the highest paid coach of any sport in the state of New Hampshire. I can't verify if that's actually true, but I can verify that Chris Feliciano has been a winner every step of his career. Everywhere Chris goes, he wins, which is why I would not be shocked if one day he's coaching a Power 5 level team. He's that good of a coach. Chris knows the game, he has energy and vision, and he is self-motivated, and he surrounds himself with great people. Chris has always had a great support system. That was proven during this year's Hall of Fame period when Chris finished in first place overall in the inaugural fan voting for the Hall of Fame. But that support system starts at home. Today, Chris is a father blessed with a wonderful wife, Emily, a beautiful little daughter, Ava, and a second child on the way. He's always had great support from his father, Ray, and his younger sister, Veronica. But his true motivation was his mother, Maria, who was a setter for the Puerto Rican national women's volleyball team. Sadly, Chris's mom was stricken with cancer in 2001 and passed away in October 2003, shortly after Chris graduated from NJCU. But during my nearly 20-year friendship with Chris, I have seen firsthand how his mom's legacy lives in him and how she has continued to motivate her son to achieve greatness. Maria, your boy has done very, very well. I know you are proud of him every day. It is my distinct honor to introduce for enshrinement into the New Jersey City University Athletics Hall of Fame, my friend Christopher Feliciano. Chris, your legacy of what you did for the programs here at your alma mater will now last forever. Congratulations and welcome to the NJCU Athletics Hall of Fame.